Rahul, thank you very much. One more opportunity you have given me to talk about a techno-economical subject. Today, we are going to discuss logistic cost at the country's level. You can talk about logistic cost at industry level. You can talk about even within a group of companies you can do. But today, I'm going to talk about logistic costs at the country level and how it is important. It is also used to be mentioned as invisible cost earlier, because many people could not really see this cost, understand this cost very clearly, even though they were feeling the pinch of it when they heard the details. But all I'll tell you now is it is one of the parameters indicating health of the economy. And I will enlarge this thought and explain to you why logistic cost is important for a growing country like India. It is applicable for domestic market as well as for exports which are going abroad. It is applicable for every item. If you're talking about cement, there's a logistic cost for cement. If you're talking about steel, it has got a different logistic cost. If you're talking about vegetables, has got a different logistic cost. If you're talking about milk, it's a different logistic cost because milk has to get transported in refrigerated containers. So the cost is different. So different products have different logistic costs, but at the country's level, all these are added together and you come to some value saying our country has spent so much on logistic cost. And that as a percentage of GDP is what is talked about at the country's level, when at the international level, it is that percentage is talked about. I have a presentation on this. I will share the screen now. Okay, so I have the presentation now. Can you see the screen now? Okay, right. So I've given the title, how was this logistic cost optimized? Because it's not one single parameter by which you can reduce it. There are 2-3 factors which have to be considered. I will go ahead and explain what is logistic cost first, and then see how is it measured and where is India standing now in the global arena. So let me just tell you. First of all, I'm going to indicate logistic cost as LC, because so many times I had to repeat, so I put the term LC. It is a macroeconomic parameter, like inflation, like GDP, like you have the difference between exports and imports. So there are many factors which are macroeconomic at the country level. So this is one of the factors. And it denotes the development of the country in the economic field. Normally, it is indicated as a percentage of the GDP. If this percentage is high, for some reason, we'll analyze the reason. If the percentage is high, then all of you pay more money for the item. If the percentage is high, let's say vegetables, this logistic cost is high, then you'll pay more money when you buy it. And if it's an item which is being exported, and if the logistic cost is high, then the domestic manufacturer's competitiveness in the global arena reduces because his cost is high, so he's not able to sell it in international market. So it impacts domestic customer like you and me, and also for exports. Now, when you want to understand the quantity of logistic cost, it is separately computed As I told you earlier, steel separate, cement separate, vegetables separate, wooden items separate, furniture separate, fertilizer separate, medicine separate. Different industries are there. They all have different levels of logistic cost. They're all put together, added in Indian rupees, they added and then converted as a percentage of the GDP. And that gives India's rank in Global Logistic Index. What percentage of your GDP is the logistic cost? So let's go forward. I'll take a domestic item. You see this domestic item. There's a factory which is making. Now, after it's made in the factory, there's packing, then there's transport, then it goes to a warehouse, then it goes for distribution, then there's a certification, whether it is as per ISI mark, is it certified? So all the things which are in the red circle are all additional cost to the item. Item is made in the factory. But after that, there is transportation, warehousing, and you have to also look at the certification, distribution. Finally, the consumer, you and me, when you buy it, what is in the red circle, that cost is added to it. And that you have to incur. Let's take an export order. Packing, maybe a little more packing to cater for the long journey it has to go. Transportation. Then there is some quality certification before it goes for custom clearance. Then custom clearance, some expenditures there. Then it goes to a ship. It can go by air also. Land also is possible, but in our case, it's more of ship and air. And then the consumer abroad gets the item. So if these costs are significant, then your export market will be lower because your cost is high. So you have to bring the cost down. That is the main aim of the calculation of logistic costs. So why is it important to a economy of a country? First, it is representing the total cost. It controls domestic inflation. If your cost is high for a reason, then your inflation is high. Simple. Transportation requires diesel. If the diesel price has gone up because of Iran-US war, if it has gone up, your inflation will go up. If the diesel fuel costs come down, the inflation will come down. One important aspect is it controls the domestic inflation, the cost. Second aspect is competitiveness of our exports will vary with logistic costs. If the lower the cost, you're more competitive and likely to get more export orders. Third is, it's a good way of assessing your infrastructure health. If the roads are good, the railways are running fast, or the customs department is very efficient, or certification agencies are doing a very good job, then your infrastructure which is required for economy, if it is good, if it actually gauges your health. If the health is good, then the cost will be lower. And then it measures the efficiency of economy. And as I told you earlier, it enhances GDP. So these are the 5 factors which are important and which depend on logistic costs as far as economy is concerned. So let us see how has India got its logistic costs shaped. How has India done it? Now, let's look at what happened in the international side. Actually, World Bank introduced logistic costs in 2007. And say if this factor is analyzed for every country, and if you know their logistic costs, then we can rank them as per their logistic performance, because that's an indicator of their economy. So India did not have much idea about this logistic cost in 2008, 9, 10. But the first assessment was made by CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, and they said your logistic cost is 10.5%. Now, that means every item you make, 10% goes to logistic cost. It is invisible to you. You don't understand. Nobody is telling you you're buying a shirt for 200 rupees or 400 rupees. Nobody is telling you it has got 10% because of logistics. Nobody mentions. The seller does not mention it. The manufacturer does not mention it. Nowhere. But it's a hidden cost. It's an invisible cost to you. And it was first assessed as very close to 11%. Then later, it was given to a private company who analyzed it, and they said it is even higher to 13%. So government decided to task National Council of Applied Economic Research to study the logistic cost of India. So when they came out with this report in 2019, they said there are many reasons why our logistic cost is high. And one of the reasons they are given is because of road transport. There are many places where trucks don't go fully loaded. They are only half loaded, and therefore the expenditure is high for a less number of items. They said there are many trucks which are going, especially to northeast side. They come back empty because there is nothing to carry from there back to the other states, because the items that are available in northeast for being sold outside in other states is less. So trucks are actually returning back empty. Not all the trucks, but the large number of. This is one of the studies which NCER found out. They also found out during that time, I'm talking about 2010, there was a union culture among ports, and ports were not working efficiently. It's an important organization for your exports. And because of unionization, the working hours were more. A ship comes for unloading, it takes 2-3 days to unload. Then for loading, another 2-3 days. Ships get delayed, they're waiting outside. All this adds to your logistic cost. We don't realize it, but it gets added to it. And therefore, any item which you import, if the ship is going to wait outside for 2-3 days, then your logistic cost will go up and item will cost more when you buy from the market. There have been some harassment of truckers also by authorities who were delaying the flow of traffic. And there wasn't a digital network which was linking up all these activities. That is one aspect. Government officials were not very comfortable dealing with digital documents. They were okay with paper, and then look at it, certificate, this, that. But when everything was on the e-domain, the government officials, the government departments were not very comfortable. Their efficiency was not good. The study also said the average speed by road is 21 kilometers for a truck, because it gets stopped so many times. There's octroi post, there is some other check, and they get stopped. So average is only as low as 21 kilometers. And even for rail, which was taking goods train also was coming around 21 kilometers an hour, which is very low. So it takes more time to reach the destination, and therefore the logistic cost is high. So NCER said our logistic cost is not as high as 13%. We are at 8.9%. They did a lot of study. And they said our global rank came out to be 44 out of 139 countries. That was in 2019. But they also said there's a need for a logistic policy to be evolved so that many things are done in a coordinated manner. So this government released the document for National Logistic Policy in 2022. And it was based on a series of studies of 2022 when they released the document. You see this, 66% of our goods are transported by road in India. There are many reasons why it is so high, much higher than rail, almost more than double of rail. And shipping and air is very low. When I say ship, I also mean inland water. So 66% road being high, it depends on road condition, it depends on cost of diesel, it depends on how easily the trucks can move, at what speed they can go, etc. So this is one of the major factors in the logistic cost, transportation by road. Just remember that. So National Logistic Policy was issued in September 2022. They decided to find out each element of the cost, and they said we should be able to compress our logistic costs further down, and we should be able to improve our global rank to 25. Earlier, I had said it was around 40 plus. So around 25, we should be able to come. And they started analyzing the data a little more. They found light trucks were moving faster than heavy trucks due to many reasons, because of road condition, because of driving uh, conditions for the drivers, heavy trucks. The drivers tend to get a little more overloaded. They should have two drivers at least to load. Otherwise, the truck stops for some time en route and before they can restart. Short distance logistic cost is different from long distance. Some items were refrigerated and sent, like milk, cheese, medicines. Their cost was higher. So they started analyzing this data based on, is it because of short distance? Is it because of refrigeration? And a digital platform was brought to put all the authorities who are dealing with logistics. It's called Unified Logistic Interface Platform. That means Sabu sometime back said about GST. So if you get a GST invoice, it is on the logistic interface auto on the platform, and straight away you have to put other details saying where is the destination, where it is going, what is the truck which is taking it, how far it is it a big truck, small truck? All these aspects are possible to be studied on the digital platform. So this ULIP, which is just started about 3 years back, it gives you data integration. You're able to track real-time tracking because GPS is fitted on all trucks, and that data you can get it through GPS, and the goods which are there is known in GST. So you're able to link all that. Digital verification is possible when the vehicle comes on the other side. His registration number and other documents are all on digital network. So it becomes easy, faster. Authorities are able to clear the truck in shorter time. It is much more simplified. Cost is reduced. And even the routes are getting optimized so that they reach the destination in a shorter time. You may recall some time back we discussed about dedicated freight corridors for train. That means there are lanes between North India and Bombay, and similarly from Delhi to Calcutta, where there are lanes only for goods train. And every day, more than 100 goods train cross on those lines, one after the other. No passenger. Passengers are on another line. This has actually speeded up the movement of goods, and therefore, less time, less turbulence, less cost. And there is transparency for everybody to see the data. If you, based on all this, it was worked out for 1 ton kilometer, if you send by road, it is 3.78 rupees. But rail is much lower, 1 point, less than 2 rupees. Don't look at air. Water is 2.30 because some are coastal, some are inland water. The competition is between road and rail at this point of time because waterways are not really picked up much. Earlier, you saw the percentage, it's so low in waterways. So rail has started freight corridors. But finally, the last mile has to be a truck. The customer can get the item only by truck to his house or to his factory, unless his factory is next to the railway station, which is not possible. So road transport is inevitable. At least in the last mile, it has to be road transport. But if it can cover the major distance by rail, then the cost will come down. So how do you take away the item from a train and put it in a truck? You have to have some arrangement. We're going to talk about it. What is the arrangement which the government has come with? If you bring the item by boat or bring the item by inland water or by coastal shipping, how do you put it in a truck from the ship? So, or from the vehicle or from the inland water vessel, how do you put it? So let us talk about this aspect. So the major issue which was being discussed about framework for logistic costs in India was analyzed based on 2024. In 2024, they formed a team under Department of Industry Promotion and Internal Trade, and that had many members, as it showed the slide, and they worked on found out India's logistic cost. Now it's come down to slightly less than 8%, and our global ranking has improved six positions after doing so many improvements. I list out the improvements to you, what has happened, but they still feel there are infrastructure gaps to cold storage. You want to send vegetables from one part of the country to another. Whenever they come to one particular place and they have to unload, it has to get refrigerated. So there should be a refrigerated warehouse, which is not there in all the locations. Cold storage was a problem. You may recall, even during COVID time, when we had to send our injections, we had to send by through cold storage arrangements. We had to send by, in some places, even through an ice box, so that we are able to get the medicines or the injections to the vaccines to the distantly located population. So at that time itself, it was realized that our cold storage chain is not very efficient in India. It's something which is to be improved. And of course, last mile has to be anyway by truck, right? So I'm just going and showing two examples. You can take LC, logistic cost, as a percentage of industrial output plus agriculture without services. That is one way of looking at it. So it is around, you can see is around 9% something. You can also see it as industry plus agriculture plus services, which is actually GDP. And this is how our logistic cost has changed during the period 2018 to 2024. Now, we are totally dependent on road transport, 66%. And if the fuel prices have been going up for some reason, our logistic costs will go up. There's no doubt about it. So let us look at what are the other factors by which government has been able to lower the logistic cost. First thing is GST. After GST has come, there's no octroi. There's no octroi post, no delay anywhere. Trucks can just drive past because once they got a e-way bill, they are able to go without any delay. Then we discussed this Gati Shakti program, which has improved the infrastructure since 2021. How the roads have been decided, the routing has been decided, how they will have faster movement, how many lanes should be there in the highway. So all these things have been done in the Gati Shakti program, which we discussed about 3-4 months back. I told you about ULIP, the Unified Logistics Platform, which has come in 2022. Then railways have started 2 freight corridors, one for east and one for west, which I told you. And they're going to start 2 more immediately from west to east. And earlier it was north to west and north to east. Now they're going to interconnect east and west. Our ports are getting developed. You must have seen some big advertisements which have come in the local newspaper in Kerala regarding Vizhinjam, how ships are coming and they're getting unloaded and they are getting reloaded and moving out fast. It's an important parameter for a port. How short a time you can unload and do the fresh loading depends on coordinated action between the ship as well as the port, as well as the crane operators, which are software controlled. So they are able to do it in less than 24 hours in India. That's the best result which has come, but average is around 28 hours at this point of time. There are 2 programs which are running, Sagarmala, Bharatmala. Sagarmala is for ports and Bharatmala is for roads. More and more roads are being added for improving road transport. Now, I told about how to unload an item from a vessel and load it on a truck. So these are called multimodal logistics park. It's a huge area where it's very close to water. So the ship, when it comes, or the inland water vessel, when it comes, you can unload it by crane and put it on the other side, from where it will go on truck straight away. Similarly, the train also comes there, and you can unload from the train and put it on a truck. Last mile has to be truck, as I told you. So 5 such parks have been started. The first was in Varanasi, and there are 2, 3 other places where it has started along the Ganges. And this has improved with no delay in loading trucks. When the item has come, or when the containers have come from train, they have come by train, or they come by be it coastal shipping or inland water. 30 more such parks are being planned. Some are for water plus rail plus road. Some are only for rail and road. As it goes along and when it starts up, we'll perhaps get another opportunity to discuss. Called multimodal logistic park. Even though we have done all this, the road transport is still very, very dominant, the percentage. And unless you bring down that, there are many methods to bring increased railways by freight corridor, multimodal logistic park, improve coastal shipping and inland water. Unless you do all this, road sector will continue to be our primary challenge. So the government has tackled in one is railways, which we talked about. Railways is 9% growth has been there. I'm talking only freight. I'm not talking about passenger. Only goods train. 9% has been improvement till July 26. Then coastal shipping also, you see the map, you see the graph. It is going up. One is from major ports, one is from minor ports. There's been increasing. Inland water also has been increasing. And multimodal, this is a photo of the multimodal path where a ship comes alongside, the crane picks up and puts it on the other side of the road where the trucks are waiting. Sometimes it directly goes to the truck, sometimes it remains in the park. This is an important factor which has to be solved by us. Let's look at globally how we are. When it was done in 2016 by Armstrong and Associate report, India was around 13%, I told you. And there are countries not so good like us, Indonesia, Vietnam, even Russia, etc. They are all having higher logistic costs. But look at the ones which are lower. Korea, United States, Japan, Europe, all South America, all these are lower than us. And we want to come to the right, reduce our logistic cost as the years go by. We have improved by 6 position. We have come down to 7.97% now. This is a comparison of us with Singapore, USA, and China. There are 6 parameters which are being covered. And we are, how well is your customs? How well is your infrastructure functioning? What about international shipments, logistic coverage, timeliness, tracking? All these are possible. If you look at the innermost pentagon, or in this case, hexagon, is India. We're not doing so well compared to Singapore, USA, and China. They're far ahead of us. We need to catch up on all this to be competitive on the economic front. So logistic cost has to be reduced. So in 2024, government found out what is your logistic cost. And they added up how much railway spend, how much water transport, how much road transport, etc., etc. And finally, it came to 24 lakh crores. We as a country have spent 24 lakh crores as logistic cost, be it for steel, be it for cement, be it for vegetables, be it for furniture, be it for pharmaceuticals, whatever it is. You add up all the costs incurred by different industries, India has spent 24 lakh crores. And the 41% of that was in road. Then comes for storage and warehousing and material handling, waterways, railways, etc. So this high figure of road is a target for us to reduce. And logistic costs, they also found out if you're a small company, which has got business less than 5 crores, your logistic cost is high. If you're a big company, your logistic cost is less because warehousing, the big company will have warehouses along the route. A small company may not have enough warehouses. They have to hire it, or they have to have the same truck go for a bigger distance. So uh, there has to be a method by which the difficulties of small companies spending more value in logistic cost needs to be understood. And as I told you, bigger companies have lower logistic costs. Similarly, uh, cement is only 8 point some percentage. But if you go to electronics equipment and car parts, it is 21%. Logistic cost changes. If it is electrical appliances, around 10.4. If it is footwear, it is on 10. If it is iron or steel, it is around 11%. If it is medicines, it's around 12%. So different items have different logistic costs, but you have to put them all together, add up, and find India's total. And every item has got a problem, specific, because of packaging, because of weight. The truck can carry. Uh, it also means handling. If you want to unload the other side, there has to be corresponding crane available to big items taken out. So all this adds to planning of how you can bring down logistic costs. I've given some of the examples of cement, steel, etc. So what is India's target? We want to come to 7% GDP. 7% only we should be at logistic cost. We would have moved closer to Singapore, uh, China, and USA, Europe as well. And we should be able to come to a global rank of 25. This is what the government is planning by 2030, by when they expect railways to enhance their freight. Inland water will increase because of Sagarmala. Uh, Ports will function better because of Sagarmala. More roads will come because of Bharatmala, and trucks costs will come down. You may recall some time back we had talked about there'll be no diesel trucks after some time. So the cost of transporting the road also will come down because we will not be depending on diesel. We will be using other fuels by which trucks can run, and that will be cheaper, but not by 2030. It'll be by about 2040. So we are going in the correct direction to get into a global rank of 25. Let me come to the conclusions. LC, as I mentioned earlier, is a new yardstick by World Bank. If somebody says our GDP is so much, very good, very high, you should ask, what is your logistic costs? What percentage? That completes the story. That means it'll give you an idea how efficient you are in allowing your items to go from one part of the country to another part of the country, or from our country to another country. That's an important part. Second, earlier it was 13% GDP. I told you it has come down to 8.6. But the worry is road. We have to reduce the road transportation. So they formed a logistic policy in 22, including many things. Then the government formed a digital network, a ULIP, by which all the concerned people, ports, customs, FASTag, GST, QC agencies, all are together in that digital network by which time taken for approval and processing is reduced. In 2024, our expenditure was 24 lakh crores for logistic costs. This is incurred by different manufacturers, different companies, and also by government, etc. So this 25 lakh crores, which works out to 7.9% of our GDP of 24. We improved our rank, all right. From 44, we have come to 13, but we want to reach 25. Our rank is 25. For that, you have to solve the road transportation dominance has to be reduced. That's one way you can improve your logistic cost. And you reduce your logistic cost, inflation will come down. You reduce your logistic cost, exports will go up. If exports go up, you are doing very well as an economy. So today I've been able to share with you a new term, recent term, on what is logistic cost for a country and why it is so important and why it has to be kept very low. Our aim is to come down to 7%. We are already near 80% now. We have to bring it. And for that, we have to work toward a lot of planning ahead. And these plans, by the time they are implemented, it takes 4 or 5 years. And that the government has to do. The companies have to follow. State governments also have to follow. And we hope that we'll be able to reach our targets of both percentage, 7%, and rank 25 by 2030. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I close my presentation. Jai Hind.